Helen Hyde was an American engraver and printmaker. Although she was born in Lima, New York, she spent most of her life in the Bay Area. She began to study art at age 12 along with a couple of well-known European artists. A wealthy aunt in her family encouraged her artistic education. In 1886, she entered the California School of Design and eventually traveled to Berlin and Paris. Back in San Francisco, she sketched women and children in Chinatown. She also joined the Sketch Club, a group of professional women artists. A European artist introduced Hyde to the Japanism movement through his vast Japanese art collection. Japanism is the influence of Japanese art, fashion, and traditions on Western culture. This interest led Hyde and her friend Josephine Hyde to travel to Japan and learn to attempt color etching. In 1899, the two Hyde women settled in Japan to study the country's painting techniques. Josephine Hyde returned to America a year later. Helen Hyde continued her study in Japan in color woodblock painting. In Japan, Helen Hyde learned the Japanese woodblock painting techniques from masters such as Emil Ulrich, a European living in Japan. During the time, artists were influenced by Japanese tradition of workshop system. Hyde learned step by step the whole process by herself. She later hired artisans to come to her studio to supervise their work. In Tokyo, she was given her first set of tools to cut blocks from European teachers such as Austrian printer maker Emil Orlik. Helen Hyde became successful as an artist in the United States and the United Kingdom in the late 1890s. She had art pieces in many museums, won prizes, and has galleries throughout the continent. What made her significant was her talents and how they met the art taste of the period. Coming from a wealthy family helped Helen establish herself as an internationally recognized artist. One of her first pieces was The Winner, made out of color woodcut. It is a view of women with children on their backs. The women are simply dressed with no patterns. It showed they weren't from a wealthy class. It is probably winter time since the blowing branches are in the background and their heads are covered. Critics of the time adored Hyde's woodblock prints the most. Most of her early work had a flat, decorative effect. She achieved this by not having shadows. Her colors were praised and the fact that the prints were Japanese in tone and quality. Other pieces included Complaints, 1914, Baby Talk in 1908, Moonlight on the Vita Canal, 1912, and a personal favorite, The Return in 1907. Helen Hyde loved the beauty of Japan, everything from the natural landscape, the clothing, the houses, to the traditions of Japan. What she didn't care for was how male artists viewed the Japanese beautiful woman tradition or the Japanese geisha. To her, it seemed cliche and non realistic. She stayed committed to showing her audience what was really beautiful to her. The return is also a color woodcut. It is a line of four women placed in a series of steps by the moonlight. They are all carrying large bundles of wood. In the background is a Buddha shrine and a tree. All three are illuminated against the moonlight. The white caps of the women stand out against a slate blue background with many dark gray tones. While the background uses Asian symbols, the women are working women. Most of her work shows a strong female role and women working. The world Hyde created was without men. The prints are all of women and children. The infants are taken care of by women. It is a world of women and children relationships where women provide everything. In other prints, women are showed working without their children. This shows the power of the women's space. She made her audience concentrate on the women's world completely. Not only was she recognized around the world, but known as a California artist. Now, what is California art? When you hear California, you automatically think beaches, palm trees, Hollywood, and the hot sun all year long. There's so much more to California than people think. The art here is everything. It's up in the urban cities, sidewalks, and in museums. We're all surrounded by so much art we don't realize it. California art is a big part of our modern lifestyle. Early California artists helped to create and shape the culture and politics. The significance of California art is how well it shows the beauty of what makes California. Artists use a lot of symbols and characteristics. The styles are very bold. Most of the materials early artists used were of paints, printmaking, and carving. Early artists also used natural materials. Basket weaving was created by California's first artists. Natives perfected the art of basket weaving, creating designs representing traditional designs. In modern times, more artists use oil paints and watercolors. There's always a wide variety of vibrant colors to represent California. Different cities hold different pieces, such as San Francisco and Los Angeles. So let's recap a little bit. One of the best known and most successful American printmakers of the earliest 20th century was Helen Hyde, who found her identity in Japan where she lived for most of her life. What made her significant was her talents and how she attempted to meet the art tastes of the period. California art is significant because of its diversity, culture, and how it helped California grow as a state. The styles are bold, and most of the materials used were paints, printmaking, basket weaving, and carving. Early artists also used natural materials. California is a beautiful place of diversity and a place to grow. Knowing who helped to change and build California helped future artists create their own masterpieces. What makes California art so special is the culture and diversity in all different types of work and how the state has grown over time.